Hello everyone, it's Old Guardian here. In this video I'm going to take a look at what the 2019 Hearthstone Standard rotation is going to mean for the Druid class. If you're unfamiliar with the Standard rotation, in Hearthstone every spring in April when the first expansion of the year launches, all the expansions from 2 years prior rotate out of the Standard format and they are therefore only playable in Wild format after that. In 2019, when the first expansion comes, the expansions that are going to leave the Standard format are therefore Journey to Un'Goro, Knights of the Frozen Throne and Kobolds and Catacombs, which were published in 2017. Of course, the upcoming new expansion is going to affect things a lot, but we can already take a little bit of a look at what happens with different classes. I have already made a bunch of these class videos and I will make one for every single class, so stay tuned for more of these. And in these I'm going to examine the keycards that are leaving, some keycards from the expansions that are going to be staying, and what this means for all the current meta archetypes of these classes, in this case Druid. First of all, Journey to Un'Goro is leaving the Standard format. Druid didn't have a ton of stuff that it really liked in Journey to Un'Goro. There's Earthen Scales, which was of course some nice armor gain. There's Tyrannus, which has not seen a ton of play, but it has been an occasional tech card in stuff like Malygos Druid. And if any sort of big beast Druid archetype would be viable, then Tyrannus would of course be an option for that kind of a deck. Living Mana is leaving. It has also not seen a ton of play. It has seen a bit of resurgence in Rastakhan's Rumble in these sort of trend synergy token druids. Overall a fairly solid card. And on the neutral side, Charged Devilsaur is leaving, another card that has seen play in stuff like Quest Druids and any sorts of attempts to build these bigger beast Druid archetypes. Overall, however, Journey to Un'Goro was not a huge expansion for Druid, so no that big losses there. However, the same cannot be said of Knights of the Frozen Throne. Even though numerically Druid might not be losing a ton of different cards, but the quality of the cards that Druid is losing is immense. Malfurion the Pestilent, a very solid Death Knight card. Ultimate Infestation. Ultimate Infestation has really been a manifestation of Druid power in recent years, and now it's going away from Standard format and only playable in Wild. Spreading Plague. The card that was already nerfed, it's still powerful, an incredible defensive tool against aggression, and that was going away. As well as Hadronox, a card that sparked an entire archetype around it, the Taunt Druid, and it's now going away as well. So even though these might not be that many cards, but each of these cards has had a tremendous effect on what we think of Druid. And then Kobolds and Catacombs is leaving, and this one has the quality, this one has the quantity. You could just put all the stuff from Kobolds and Catacombs onto a sheet like this and be like, oh wow, really? All of this is going away? Really? Twig of the World Tree, a very key piece in making all sorts of crazy combos by giving Druid an additional 10 mana when it's broken. Branching Paths, that has largely been responsible for Druid's nowadays envied ability to just armor up and armor up and armor up even more than a warrior. But some of that armoring up power is now going away. Oaken Summons, very good tool in all sorts of archetypes, summoning Violet Teachers, summoning 3/6 Taunt minions, summoning Greedy Sprites, just an incredible card. And Barkskin. Barkskin might not look quite as good as the rest of these cards, but Barkskin has actually been one of the main pieces in Mechatoon Druid's Pyromancer combos. It gives Pyromancer more health, so it allows the Mechatoon Druid to play more spells and have Pyromancer deal more AoE damage. Without Barkskin, and without Earthen Scales that's also going away, Druid doesn't have that many ways to buff up the health of the Pyromancer. It still has tools, but they are not quite as cheap and effective as these were. And Greedy Sprite, some of the ramp is going away. Of course, much of Druid's ramp is in Classic set and Basic set, so those are not going anywhere. But then, even though it's a neutral card, that's a big thing for Druid. King Togwaggle. Key piece in, of course, the Togwaggle Asalina type of Druid, and also in Togwaggle Hakar type of Druid. No more swapping decks with your opponent. These are some major changes to Druid. Of course, not everything is going away, something is also going to stay. But when we look at the Witchwood, for example, then it is quite slim pickings for Druid actually. Well, there is Whispering Woods, which has been a big deal in various token Druids. There's Ferocious Howl, so there's still some of this card draw combined with armor gain. It's not all going away. And then there's Witching Hour, but the real use of Witching Hour has been to recreate Hadronox. But Witching Hour is still a 3-mana semi-targeted Resurrect. And if Priest can do well with a 4-mana Resurrect, then 3-mana Resurrect in theory should still be a good card, if there is a good beast pool to go alongside it. And of course there the loss of Tyrannus Charged Devilsaur might hurt. The Boomsday project has some really promising Druid cards. Floppidinous Floop is still there, so you can still make a 4-mana copy of any minion that you play. Very high potential for combo decks. Dream Petal Florist is still there. At the end of your turn, reduce the cost of a random minion in your hand by 7. So you still have this one to activate combo decks. Then there's Mulch Muncher. Some of these trend synergy cards are still around. And even though Ultimate Infestation is leaving, Druid still has some crazy card draw available in the form of Juicy's Psych Melon. It's still around. Draw 7, 8, 9 and 10 cost minions from your deck. The only piece missing really is what are those minions exactly. Rastakhan's Rumble also has some semi-good cards that Druid can use. Well, there's Gonk, but okay, Gonk was quite a disappointing legendary really. However, stuff like Tree Speaker, Battlecry transfer your trends into 5/5 Ancients. I'm sure you see where this is going. Trends here, trends there. There's a bunch of these trend synergy cards that are going to be remaining in Standard. Stampeding Roar. Summon a random beast from your hand and give it Rush for 6 mana. That's an interesting card. You have ability to draw expensive cards, you have ability to summon expensive cards, you have ability to resurrect expensive cards. There's something around there. And there's even one big beast, Ironhide Direhorn. 7 mana 7/7 with overkill, summon a 5/5 Ironhide Runt. So there is some kind of a toolbox here. But what about the existing archetypes? Are those going to survive or do we have to rebuild with these tools? Looking at Megatoon Druid, it doesn't lose that many cards numerically. Barkskin, Earthen Scales, Spellstone, Branching Paths, Oaken Summons. But when you look at the roles these cards play in the deck, well, there's a ton of armor is going away, the first early removal is going away, and Barkskin, which was a key piece in Pyromancer combos, is going away. So the deck is losing a lot and it would have to reinvent its survivability and its removal options a little bit. However, it does keep the actual combo. Megatoon, Innervate, Naturalize. That's still there. If you can figure out a way to survive, empty your deck, empty your hand, empty your board, you can still do it with the Megatoon. There's another very common variant of this that only differs from this by 2 cards, which is to put in Hakar and Togwaggle. But without Togwaggle, it doesn't help to draw your own deck and play Hakar now, does it? Because you just kill yourself. So without Togwaggle, the Hakar variant is dead. Then there's Malygos Druid. Malygos Druid is something that just seems to always find some way to survive. Will it now? I'm not sure. It loses Spellstone, Branching Paths, Twig, Tyrant, Spreading Plague, Malfurion the Pestilent and Ultimate Infestation. So it loses a lot of its defensive power with the Spreading Plague, it loses a lot of armor gain with the Branching Paths, it loses Ultimate Infestation and that card draw, and it loses the Twig. Combo potential from Twig is gone. However, it keeps Malygos. It keeps all the damage spells that it has used with Malygos, it keeps the Floppidinous Floop, that can also be a Malygos, and it keeps the Dream Petal Florist, which still enables discounting cards in order to make combos. So Malygos Druid is also in a position that, okay, it needs to figure out the way to get to its win condition, but the win condition itself, it's still there, it's still waiting. If it can find a way to survive until that, then it still has what it takes. But one of the more interesting Druid archetypes is going to be Token Druid. The regular Token Druid has often relied on Spreading Plague a lot, and Spreading Plague is going away, but there's also these strength versions that are around nowadays. They have been a little bit weaker, but there are just a lot of strength synergies around. So for example, this build, it loses Firefly, Tortolan, it loses Living Mana, so it loses one way to create trends, but there's still plenty of ways to create trends. Apple, Landscaping, Force of Nature. There are plenty of trend synergies around. The Soul of the Forest and Savage Roar combo is still around. Overall Token Druid, perhaps even regular Token Druid with Whispering Woods and something like Violet Teachers, can still have potential. Are we finally going to see Dendrologist and Mulch Muncher see mainstream play? Maybe even Tree Speaker? Now lots of cards that support this archetype, and with everyone becoming weaker, this just might become strong enough. I did not even put in pictures here of the other main Druid archetypes, Taunt Druid and Spiteful Druid, because there is no Taunt Druid without Hadronox. The Hadronox Death Rattle was the core of that deck, and that deck is gone. And Spiteful Druid, this sort of mid-rangey archetype, very much built around Prince Kelazet, Spiteful Summoner, Ultimate Infestation, all of those are going away. So there's just nothing left of those two archetypes. So given the current cards, what does the future of Druid look like? Druid always has that ramp in the basic and classic set, so it has some ways to get fast towards the end game, and current cards that really gives Druid 3 different paths that it can try to pursue. One of them is here represented by Stampeding Roar. It's that Beast Druid, Big Beast Druid. Summon those big beasts, resurrect those big beasts. But with Tyrannus Gone, Judge, Devil's Roar gone, what are the beasts that you're going to summon and resurrect? That's the key question, and what the next expansion can give us in that regard. And then there's the token approach, Token Druid. It might work with trends, because there are a lot of trend synergy cards like this Tree Speaker right here. But it might also just be a regular Token Druid with Teachers and Whispering Woods, because Savage Roar is there, Soul of the Forest is there. Token Druid still has just about all its tools left intact. And then the third path is the combo path, represented here by the Dream Petal Florist. So it could be Malygos, it could be something else. What kind of combo cards will come up? Maybe there's even a way to rebuild Mechatoon Druid. Overall, Druid is in a very interesting position regarding the rotation, because it has a lot of building blocks. It's a lot of building blocks for Mechatoon, Malygos, Beasts, other combos, tokens, just lots of blocks lying around. But it's not apparent if those blocks can actually build coherent decks. It looks like Token Druid is very, very likely to survive the rotation. And there are other archetypes that hold some promise, but there just aren't enough building blocks right now, and we have to wait until we get to see what the next expansion brings, and then maybe we can put something together. Very interesting times for Druid for sure. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed the show, please click the like button and subscribe to my channel for more.